Can Bitcoin really hit 400K? A lot of the bulls and best investors in the cryptocurrency space right now really do think that Bitcoin on a very bullish scale can hit 400K within the next 12 months. Now that's a pretty big statement to make, but I do see what some of the data is showing that is proving that Bitcoin could potentially hit past 400K. Now I'm going to show you some details from some really top investors, showing you some charts that are really showing how Bitcoin can achieve the 400K price point and why they think it's going to hit that. So I'm really excited to share some of this really good stuff that I just came upon, and it's also been a really exciting weekend. I mean, with Bitcoin finally passing $60,000 in price for the first time in months, this is really starting to look like a really promising bull cycle that we're about to enter again, simply because all signs are pointing green. Now with the Proshares Bitcoin ETF about to make its debut, who knows where things are going to head for Bitcoin now that the SEC has finally approved the first Bitcoin ETF. So we are literally in uncharted waters right now with Bitcoin. We have never seen so much attention drawn on Bitcoin like we are seeing today. I mean, the future is looking really bright for Bitcoin. I'm going to show you everything that the pros are saying about the price of Bitcoin and also what this means for the price of Ethereum and for the price of Solana. Since these are some of the top 3 projects right now that are garnishing the most attention, I'm going to go over statistics that are showing some similarities between these two assets and why everything is starting to look like we're going to see a massive bull run in the near future. And before we get started, be sure to comment for your chance to win a Nano Ledger hardware wallet. I'm giving away a free Ledger wallet to a random user who leaves comments in my videos. The comments can literally be about anything as long as they're relevant to the video or cryptocurrency in general. So if you want a chance to win a free Ledger Nano hardware wallet, leave me a comment below. Now remember, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research anytime you invest in any digital asset. This video is strictly for educational purposes only. So I came across this really interesting interview by Raoul Pal, who's the CEO of Real Vision. It's a really successful YouTube channel, but what they offer is basically financial education videos for all types of investors, and they've recently started going really hard on the cryptocurrency market. And Raoul Pal is basically a macro investor, so he's been investing for decades, and he's also very successful. And so I really liked what his thoughts were on Bitcoin when he actually used his own charts to sort of overlay how Bitcoin's performed in the past and how Bitcoin's performed next to Ethereum and Solana. So I really thought this interview was really gold. And so I just wanted to show you some of the highlights of this podcast interview. So what he said in this podcast was basically that he's been using this for over a year and it's been pure magic. So he has his own custom charts that he's using to sort of predict Bitcoin's price. It gives us a pretty clear target and it's been magic. It gave me the strength through the bear market to keep adding, thinking we know how this plays out. So here's the first chart that the former Goldman Sachs executive goes over. What he's showing you is that Bitcoin is following the same pattern that it did from 2012 to 2013. So you can see this light blue section right here is Bitcoin's price in 2012 and 2013. And it's showing you how from October all the way up to the end of the year, it basically skyrockets in price. And he's overlaying it with Bitcoin's current price. What I find astonishing is that he's actually showing how similar the price of Bitcoin has actually been showing for the past decade. And you can see the trajectory in white right here, which is the current Bitcoin price, is looking like it's headed towards the end of December to all new all-time highs. And this is why he's very bullish on this. He also has another chart where he compares this to Ethereum. And so basically he's saying, so Ethereum versus Bitcoin in 2017, it's pretty damn good. So right here, you can see Bitcoin's price going very similar to Ethereum. So the markets move very closely together, which is why he's also bullish on Ethereum, simply because when he overlays the Bitcoin price for the past decade with Ethereum's price from 2016 to currently, just look how similar they follow suit in terms of bull markets and bear markets, bull markets, bear markets, and we're going through another bull market as well. And one of the ones I thought was very unique is when he pulls up the chart with Solana, and he's actually saying that the chart, if we were to continue at this pace, puts Solana above 800, and he just basically shows you the similarities between Solana currently and Ethereum from 2016 to 2017. So He's basically going over why he's super bullish. He's just using the data to guide his investment decisions, which is why in the interview he put the price. He actually predicted that Bitcoin would be above 250K in this current Bitcoin bull market. And on another interview I heard on the Pump podcast, with him being extra bullish, he said he can even see Bitcoin passing 400K. Now, if you want to see a quick snippet of why I'm super bullish on Bitcoin along with Raoul Pal, he does a quick 2-minute explainer video of the charts he's created as well that really explain into detail why he's just super bullish. And you can even find this video on his Twitter. So if you go to his Twitter, Raoul Pal, and you go to his tweet from October 15th, you'll see a quick 2-minute video of why he's saying that we've already gone through a Bitcoin consolidation period for the majority of this year, and now we're entering some sort of a parabolic phase for Bitcoin, which is why he put optimistically 250K to 400K Bitcoin in this next bull run. So time will tell, but he is being very bullish on Bitcoin being between 250K and 400K, and I think he has some pretty good data to back up these specific claims. So if you go to his tweet from October 15th, watch this little snippet right here, and I promise you'll be astonished about how accurate his data is and how beautiful these charts play out year over year based on the data that he's consolidated over the past decade. Now, in addition to charts and graphs and sort of overlaying previous performance to predict future performance of Bitcoin, there are also a whole lot of things going on right now in the financial sectors of the world that are really pushing the price of Bitcoin to new all-time highs, simply because more people are paying attention to Bitcoin, creating this perfect storm for Bitcoin. You have charts showing some really predictable price actions, and you also have so much media attention. You have so much money coming into Bitcoin and into cryptocurrency in general, and it's all coming together to be this perfect storm of a bull run coming up. So I want to show you, as you know, the Bitcoin ETFs are stated to come out either Monday or Tuesday, and it's going to be the very first ETF in the USA that has finally been approved by the SEC, and the company that's starting it is called Proshares. Now, Proshares is not going to be the first or last ETF that's going to be built, but what they did do that is positive for Bitcoin is they basically laid out a roadmap for everyone else to follow suit to eventually open up their own ETFs. And I promise you, there are going to be a ton of ETFs coming up in the next 12 months that are really just going to drive so much attention, so much cash, so much investment opportunities just from the average person to institutional investors who are all coming into Bitcoin at once. And I think this is just going to be huge to catapult Bitcoin to new all-time highs. So let's also see why some people might not be so bullish on the price of Bitcoin, even though there's an ETF coming out. So in wake of the news on the Proshares Futures ETF and what is likely to be a steady flow of similar fund products, we talked to Ben, head of Flourish, on investing platform owned by insurance giant MassMutual. That's pretty huge. That works with hundreds of registered investment advisors, or RIAs, that oversee $1 trillion in assets. That is a lot of assets. He goes on to say that there is white hot interest in crypto. There is. I mean, that is obvious. But advisors are reluctant from a fiduciary perspective to recommend a Bitcoin's future product for clients when there are better options to owning crypto, such as a Coinbase Global or other digital assets exchange. And he does have a great point. Though this ETF is a catalyst for Bitcoin, from an objective point of view, might not be the best investment for some of these institutional investors because they'd rather own Bitcoin outright than own a futures contract. So he goes on to say that the feedback I'm getting is a derivative asset is less efficient form of ownership. IRAs are asking, as a fiduciary, are we going to recommend a complicated futures product that is more complicated than opening up a Coinbase account in 5 minutes? Very good point. He goes on to say it's a hard thing to justify an inferior futures product. That is less my feedback and more what firms are telling me. He estimated that some 50 million Americans have already invested in crypto and said that the sense among IRAs is the investors always prefer direct access if it's available. People value convenience, and I'm not saying that there won't be some adoption, but the firms we are speaking with too are extremely skeptical of a futures ETF. So that's just to put some perspective and some objectivity on the whole Bitcoin ETF story. Yes, it's going to pave the way, and it has the potential to really just drive some massive cash from institutional investors to buy Bitcoin. But these institutional investors on the other side would rather own Bitcoin outright just from a Coinbase exchange and just hold that asset in and of itself. So both, in my opinion, are still very bullish at the end of the day for Bitcoin, whether investors are going to buy the futures contracts or they're just going to outright buy Bitcoin in general. I mean, they're both involving Bitcoin, so Bitcoin's sort of winning either way if you really think about it. And I just wanted to explain also real quick exactly what a futures contract is and why it's gained so much momentum and so much attention over the past few months with the launch of this first Bitcoin ETF. So futures are a derivative financial contract that obligate the parties to transact an asset at a predetermined future date and price. The buyer must purchase or the seller must sell the underlying asset at the set price, regardless of the current market price of the expiration date. So futures are a derivative financial contracts obligating the buyer to purchase an asset or the seller to sell an asset at a predetermined future date and price. So why do people buy futures to begin with? A future contract allows an investor to speculate on the direction of a security, commodity, or financial instrument. Futures are used to hedge the price movement of the underlying asset to help prevent losses from unfavorable price changes. So why that's important for Bitcoin is basically because institutional investors are going to want to have some sort of a hedge. And now investors who have been speculating or have just sort of not wanted to get involved in Bitcoin, but are more interested in owning a derivative to sort of hedge their bets, then now they can. And there's a lot of money in the derivative market. I mean, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars in the derivative market that is now going to be available to institutional investors. So that's why this news has gained so much momentum. Institutional investors are going to be using the Bitcoin ETF to hedge their bets, to profit on price action, earn some yield. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the other side of institutional investors would just rather buy Bitcoin outright in general. So when you have all of this news combined and you couple that with what Raoul Pal has been saying, according to his charts, we're looking very similar to the price actions of 2012, 2013, and it's following the chart very nicely. And so with all that being said, you're having like this perfect storm happening right now in the Bitcoin world that is going to attract hundreds of billions of dollars and is going to push the entire cryptocurrency market to new all-time highs, because we all know once Bitcoin goes up, it also pushes the price for altcoins because there's just more attention in general for cryptocurrency. And so if you were looking at investing in cryptocurrency, this could be a beautiful time to do it simply because there's just so much attention right now that is going to propel Bitcoin to new all-time highs. There's so much money coming into the crypto markets, and who knows how high the altcoin market's going to be within the next few months. So it's really bullish news for all cryptocurrency in general. I'm really excited to see what begins to play out towards the end of this quarter and in quarter one of 2022. And the last chart I wanted to show you was the confirmed transactions per day for Bitcoin. You can see that consolidation period that Raoul Pal was talking about. And you can see after around July, heading into August is when we really started to see the transactions per day on Bitcoin really start to pick up. So this is the consolidation period. You can see for the past few months, it had been going down for a while, and now it's really starting to pick up some momentum again. So the price of Bitcoin also seems very correlated with the amount of transactions that are happening, which makes complete sense to me. So as you start to see more and more transactions on a daily basis go up for Bitcoin, which you can clearly see on this chart right here, you're also starting to see the price of Bitcoin go up, which makes complete sense why they're correlated, simply because if more people are using it, there's more attention towards it. And basically that's what's pushing a lot of this momentum, is people are actually using Bitcoin, which makes perfect sense as to why we're seeing an increase in transactions, and we're also seeing an increase in the Bitcoin price. So they complement each other very well. Check out that interview with Raoul Pal. You'll love what he has to say and why he thinks that Bitcoin could potentially hit 400K in this bull run. So tell me what you think about all of this news. Do you think Bitcoin can potentially hit the price target of 400K? Let me know your thoughts about what's happening right now with the Bitcoin bull run. I would love to know what you think in the comments below. And if you're new to my channel and you love crypto news just as much as I do, then hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get all of my videos delivered to you every single day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all on the next video.